Hey guys, we just got done filming the video on imagination, and now we're going to do one on perception. And these are the higher faculties that we have in our minds that no other creature has. Being the highest form of life, I don't say this to condescend, I say this as a responsibility. You and I are 400 trillion to one miracles. You are beautiful, a 400 trillion to one miracle. And you have gifts, and you have talents that nobody else has. You are so fucking beautiful and unique. And this is why we're here. We have these higher faculties and the ability to reprogram your subconscious mind, or you do, and instead this one family that owns all of the media and the politicians and works alongside the Catholic Church publicly, the psychopathic family, is programming billions of people's subconscious minds and controlling them like little puppets and scapegoats. But now people are awakening. And I want to dive into one of our higher faculties today, the perception. And this is very powerful, and it goes alongside empathy. Not sympathy. Not sympathy, but empathy. Okay? And guys, Perception is the one key when it comes to the law of attraction that, I won't mention names, but people that have been studying it for 60 or 70 years don't even understand quite how the perception goes into the law of attraction. And, we are the timekeepers. We decide when we manifest. Let go of this bullshit religious propaganda that it's going to happen in the universe's time. It's going to happen in God's time. We are creators. How did I in 7 years go from pushing in carts to mastering, self-improving through 30 jobs, from corporate sales, finishing number 1 right and left in corporate sales, running my 6-7 figure businesses, now doing my most biggest accomplishment recently, running an international nonprofit where we work alongside governors, mayors, councilmen around the world to unite the world together. How did I do this in 7 years and play a father figure role for 4 children, travel the world, prosper in a third world country for 2 years, graduate college, all honors? Do I need to keep going in 7 years after turning 18? How did I do that? We are the timekeepers. I've realized, fuck astrology. Fuck astrology. I decide with my imagination and my creative higher faculties, including the perception that you have or we have, that I am going to create my own reality in my own time with these higher faculties that you have and reprogram my subconscious mind how I want to. And above all, understand my intentions. I am going to take the 400 trillion to one miracle that I am and apply my individuality, my uniqueness to life, and evolve life through the vibration of love. And you are a 400 trillion to one miracle too, and you have perception. And perception comes into place when you're manifesting, right? It comes into place when you have a goal and you have a vision. This is where you apply your perception, okay? Let's say you write out a goal, right? Start my new marketing business and find 3 new clients by the end of the year or by the end of the month. A lot of people say, well, now you have it, now just believe, and it's just going to magically happen. Or some people say, work your ass off and it's just going to magically happen. No. No. This is where perception comes in. You need to have the perspective. Go to Google, look up how to find marketing clients, find people that actually know what the fuck they're talking about, which is very hard nowadays, since, everyone that just graduated from high school all of a sudden wants to be a guru, and find legitimate online advertisers, and listen to what they have to say, and then don't just stop there, where most people stop. Listen to another one, and when you have 8 different perspectives, sit down and look at your goal, find 3 different marketing clients by the end of the month and say, okay, this guy would do this guy would do that, this guy would do that, this guy would do this guy would do that. And write it all down and then look at it and say, okay, this is what I'm going to do. And if you still can't do it by the end of the month, then go find more perspective. Everything we need or you need is already around you to succeed like that. You could have $1 million tomorrow if you wanted to. The only thing you're missing is the awareness. And that's what awareness is. The more you understand and know, the more power or the more resources you have at your disposal. How do you go to the moon when nobody's ever done it? How do you create a light bulb when nobody's ever done it? Awareness. This is what consciousness is. There's the superconscious that is all-knowing, and that's our journey. Through an open mind, we evolve and we learn more information. You know, I've been studying physics and psychology and the science of life like Albert Einstein and Aristotle my entire life. It's how I did so much in so little time. People still look at me that I just 2 years ago, and they're like, do I know you? Who are you? And your perspective is exactly this. It's not just empathy, where you actually understand the person and you put yourself in their shoes and you've actually lived what they lived, which is why I talk about all my fucking fuck-up failures. But it's also problem solving. When you have a goal, stop being closed-minded. You know, I was always the devil advocate kid in high school. I always wanted to hear all the perspectives of the world. I was friends with the Mexicans, the Mormons, the Muslims, the gays, the nerds, the jocks. I wanted to hear everybody's perspective in the world. And this mindset carried over, and when I started to gain more awareness in online advertising, marketing, business, guess where it took me? And we have to keep an open mind and your perspective open when you write your goals. And when you have a problem in life, seriously, just sit down and say, hey, how would Seiluke look at this? How would my father or my grandmother look at this? What is their perspective? What would they tell me? And then think about it and listen to your heart and your intuition that's there to protect you, and make a decision that's going to best serve you. And this is what perception is, guys. And how do you improve your perception? Just like anything else in life. Repetition. A tree doesn't just grow overnight. A tree repeats photosynthesis over and over again, and cellular splitting. And I'm not going to go into the whole botany thing that I studied, but it repeats the same structures in some sense, not exactly down to the atom, but in some senses it does. Life is no different. Your mind is no different. Your higher faculties are no different. Your perception is exactly the same. You need to perceive this shit, guys. And when you write out your goals, see it through different perceptions, right? After you do the research. You know, we have so much knowledge at our disposal, guys, but you got to cut through all the bullshit. Just like a sword, draw your sword and just cut through that bullshit. Boom! No more bullshit. Anyways, guys, I try to entertain you a little bit. This is perception, guys. Like I said, literally, this sounds so bizarre, but it's the shit that society's not doing. That's all programmed by the same family that owns all of the politicians and the media that you do, that actually works. Like Mark Zuckerberg and Steve Jobs went to India on a spiritual retreat. You think they don't sound off to most of society that's all ignorant and brainwashed to how all this stuff that I'm teaching you? But thankfully, billions and hundreds of millions of people are waking up and saying, wait a moment, this is the same family that's starting wars in the Middle East, raping and killing innocent Middle Eastern families, and making aircrafts disappear. Maybe I shouldn't trust this family with my mind and my reality. And then they hear the message of love, and they hear the message of awakening, and it's like, holy shit, you know? So this is perspective, guys, or perception, one of your higher faculties that we have that allow you to create, and literally sit down and be like, okay, how would grandma look at this? Stand up, go to your next chair, sit down, and say, okay, how would grandpa look at this? How would my uncle look at this problem? Whoever you want to see it through. And write it down. And then sit down with your 6 or 7 answers and say, okay, which one sounds best to me? How can I solve this problem? And then eventually, you develop and you have enough personal experience to where, you no longer have to do that. But when it comes to goal writing, guys, do not skip this step. This is how you decide when your manifestation occurs. The more awareness you have, the more perspective you have. The Egyptians could have built the pyramids 5 times faster, twice as fast, if they had more awareness. That's the only thing that was lacking. Now, the desire to, or the will, or the focus, but they just lacked the awareness. How quick can we build a pyramid now? All we have is more awareness, more perspective. Guys, study, get more, whatever field you're in, if you're a violinist, get more perspective. Don't just say, hey, my first instructor told me this is wrong, so I shouldn't play the violin like this. My first coach told me not to throw a baseball like that, so it can't be right. You're choking yourself. Keep an open mind. Gain as much perspective as you can and find out what works best for you. I love you all, guys. I wish you the very best in your journeys. You are beautiful. You are perfect. And I love you.